Does your child have separation anxiety? Many children go through a phase where they don't want to leave their parents. Learn how to deal with separation anxiety and when it is more serious. It's 8:30 in the morning, and the child is crying uncontrollably, clinging to the neck of their father or mother. 10 minutes earlier, they were calm in the back seat of the car, but as soon as they reached the daycare door, the crying began, even though they love their teacher and friends. This scenario is common for most families with young children, as it is usually in the school environment that separation anxiety is most noticeable. Fortunately, in most cases, it's just a phase that, like many others, passes with age. Only in more severe and rare cases does it become a disorder, which can also manifest in teenagers or adults. What is separation anxiety? It is a child's difficulty in coping with the separation from those who are closest to them in their daily life, usually parents, grandparents, or other caregivers. The child cries, doesn't want to let go of their hand or lap, doesn't want to leave the car, or doesn't want to enter the classroom. Separation anxiety is a developmental phase that usually starts before the first year of life and ends around age 3, although it doesn't necessarily last that entire time. Babies who are placed in daycare or nursery at a few months old and remain calm throughout the day may at any time go through moments where they have a crying fit and don't want to leave their parents, feel uneasy around new people, or don't want to be held by others they already know well. Unless they have experienced a traumatic event, this separation anxiety is a result of their normal development and sense of dependency and security. Did you know? Separation anxiety is linked to a child's recognition of their dependence on their parents or others, meaning they have a strong bond with the person they don't want to let go of. Not all children go through this phase, which is also normal. What are the signs of anxiety? Sudden crying is the main thing to notice when a baby suffers from separation anxiety, which can also occur with some family members more than others. Other signs include crying when parents or others leave the room, not wanting to let go of the person leaving them at school or elsewhere, clinging more tightly in new situations or places, fear of strangers approaching, preference for one parent or grandparent, asking for company to fall asleep, waking up at night crying and calling for someone in particular. How to overcome separation anxiety. It's not only children who have to deal with this phase. Many parents feel concerned when they see their children suddenly crying. They experience a sense of helplessness and even guilt, which sometimes leads them to hesitate in leaving their children at school in the morning or delay the drop-off. Therefore, the training to overcome separation anxiety applies to both the children and the parents. The main goal is for both sides to understand that nothing bad will happen, the parent will return in a few hours, the baby will calm down and have a good day with the other children and the caregiver. There are several tricks to help make this happen. Train with short separations. Leave the baby with a family member or someone familiar at home for a few minutes to test the level of anxiety. Gradually extend this period and move on to other places, like the grandparents' house. Make a happy and quick farewell. Smile, wave, and say goodbye confidently. Convey happiness during this moment, but try to keep it brief. If the child senses tension or nervousness during the farewell, they may become anxious and start crying. Leave a familiar object. The teddy bear, blanket, or cloth that goes in the stroller and stays with the baby is not just a personal item. It's something they associate with home and even has a familiar scent, which helps to soothe them. Don't disappear suddenly. It may be tempting to leave when the child turns their back, but sometimes this has the opposite effect. It can trigger anxiety in simple situations, like going to the kitchen and coming back, or getting out of the car even if it's just to open the child's door. Try to explain the absence. It's difficult for a child to understand what a job or a workday is, but it's always good to explain why you will be away and for how long. They will understand better later on. A trick to give them a sense of time is to use concepts they can grasp, such as after lunch or after nap. Talk about activities to do afterward. For slightly older children who already know what a store, supermarket, cafe, or park is, mentioning what you will do after daycare helps with the morning goodbye. They get excited about these activities later in the day and are more likely to accept the parent's departure. Can separation anxiety return? As a developmental phase that typically disappears before age 3, and with many years still ahead for the child's full physical and psychological development, it is possible, and normal, for separation anxiety to reappear in occasional, very specific situations. Stressful moments or unexpected events can trigger episodes of anxiety, especially when the child or young person has grown up in a very protective environment with little autonomy. The arrival of a younger sibling. A new room or school. A new teacher or caregiver. Moving to a new house. The loss of a parent or other family member. Long absences of someone close, such as a parent working far away or constant travel. Fatigue, hunger, or illness. Parents' divorce. When to contact a doctor. Separation anxiety should not be a cause for concern or parental suffering. In fact, the concerned reaction of parents can sometimes exacerbate these crying and anxiety episodes in their children. However, in certain cases, signs of anxiety may indicate a more complex situation that requires therapy or medical treatment, separation anxiety disorder. This disorder can begin in preschool age but can also appear in teenagers and adults. In children, if separation anxiety lasts for several weeks without improvement and negatively affects the child's learning and well-being, as well as that of those around them, it's best to contact the pediatrician. In more severe cases, the anxiety episode can start at home, and crying may be accompanied by headaches or stomach aches. It's also possible that the child suffers from nightmares and night terrors, and has an irrational fear that either the parent will disappear or they themselves will. In general, separation anxiety is considered normal when the crying or fear episodes are typical for the child's age. When fear and other symptoms are excessive for their age or intellectual development, it may be a case of separation anxiety disorder.